Have you ever seen a ghost? Well, if your answer is no, you're going to have to change that to yes, because this is certainly a ghost, and we'll be getting into why on this video. Welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you'd purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be going over the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Self-Winding Chronograph in titanium ceramic style bezel with push pieces as well, with a rubber strap, all gray, reference number 26470IO.00.A006CA.01. All right, and now this one is actually nicknamed the Ghost, and for appearance purposes, obviously, it would make sense because the titanium built case allows for an integration of that gray strap as well as the gray mega tapisserie dial to really, come together in a sense that, it looks like it could be leaking ectoplasm at any moment. Well, not in a bad way, certainly in the best way possible. All right, so anyway, we'll be going over the case, the dial, the bezel, the crown, the functions of this watch, as well as the movement and the strap, and I'll be trying it on, giving you my thoughts on all of those. Starting off, the case is 42 millimeters in diameter from finger to thumb. All right, so quite a big one. It's 14.5 millimeters thick. This is certainly a sports watch for the ages. All right, has the glare-proofed and flat scratch-resistant sapphire crystal on the front, as well as on the case back, so you can see the movement directly all the way through. All right, very useful there. It has a lug-to-lug measurement. I measured a 53.8 millimeters from lug to lug, but an effective span, if you're including these intermediate links that connect to this rubber strap, I would go with more like a 55 millimeter lug-to-lug distance. All right, so keep that in mind if you're taking a look at this watch and you're considering it. All right, so this dial is a slate gray, matching that of the bezel. On this bezel here, we have a high polish along the sides with a satin brush finishing along the front, just as you'd find on the titanium case as well. All right, satin brush finishing along the sides of the case with those little bevels following the bezel, all together integrated to make one excellent Royal Oak Offshore timepiece here. All right, so this bezel, dark gray ceramic, has those hexagonal screws, 8 of them in the bezel, nicely uniform with their slots sort of forming that concentric circle, if you will, sort of using that Gestalt visual usage of continuity. Those little slots, you sort of see them continue in that nice circle going all the way around. All right, so quite cerebral there from Audemars Piguet. Now, looking again at this dial, again, a slate gray dial with the mega tapisserie pattern with the silver-toned counters, as you can see there. The overall texture has those large raised squares. Not really much more than that, but you don't really need much more than that on this dial because you have large Arabic numerals, all with a 18 karat white gold marking with the luminescent coating to allow them to be read very, very easily. Now note that you don't have numbers for 3, 6, 9, or 12, just tiny, tiny little counters. You can barely see the one for the 6, you can barely see the one for the 9, and the date aperture completely takes up that sort of spot for the 3. The 12 is just a tiny index marker as well. And honestly, you don't really need those as much because your brain just sort of fills in all of the numbers for you, provided you know your numbers up to 12. All right, that being said, we can take a look at the luminescence now. I'll turn off the lights here and you can actually see which parts of this dial actually glow. Now, if my camera will actually focus nicely, all right, and we can see that all of the numbers, the Arabic numerals, as well as those tiny, tiny index markings for the 6, 9, and 12 are actually glowing very brilliantly in this dark environment. The baton style royal oak hands, very easy to read as well. You can see them very clearly. Now note that you can't see the small seconds, but that doesn't really matter too much. You're probably not going to be measuring, laps at night in the pitch black. All right. Now turning the lights back on, we'll take a look at how this subdial configuration is laid out. We have the small seconds at the 12 o'clock in a sort of silvery toned dial, with the chronograph functions for the 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, 12 hours and 30-minute counters respectively, right? And while we're on that topic of the chronograph, the chrono hand is center mounted with a long white hand extending from that center with a nice silver or white gold counterweight. Solid, of course, to really drive that home. There's a track along the outer edge for the tachymeter that has sort of that same sort of sunray patterning, sort of echoing the guilloche patterning that you'd find in these subdials. See if I can zoom in there close enough so you can see the way that the sunray patterning sort of shows up in all of those aspects. All right. Now the tachymeter helps you measure how many units per minute or per hour, depending on how you use it. All right. So for example, I can stop it here and I can start the tachymeter. Let's say I just passed a mile marker and I'm just seeing how many miles per hour I am traveling. Well, simply just press it on at the very beginning of your first marker, and then once you reach that second marker, you can then press the top chronograph pusher again to stop it, and then that'll effectively tell you your average mile per hour rating over that span of time. Now, let's say I've passed my second hour marker and I have reached effectively around 135 miles per hour. Well, that's quite dangerous, so I hope you don't actually get that while traveling on a road trip through the United States, for example. All right, but should you ever need that, the function is there. It also allows you to tell you how many units you are creating per hour, etc. There are many uses for this tachymeter. You can look those up yourself. I'm not going to go over all of those because this would be an hour-long video. Okay, and when it comes to using this chronograph, again, just press the top chronograph pusher, also made in a ceramic, gray ceramic matching that of the bezel, and a satin brush finishing on all those parts except that tiny bevel that goes around the end there. That is a high polish. Same with the bottom chrono pusher, and same with this this winding crown here, high polish along this edge with the AP logo on the very end, with a satin brush finishing on the middle, the main part of that sort of the crown portion there. Okay, now when it comes to using this, again, you can press that chrono hand, the chrono pusher on the top to stop it, and note that the dial at the 9 o'clock has actually been ticking up this entire time. We're at about between 42 and 43 seconds there, and I'm about 3/4 of the way to the first minute. All right, so that's a very good use of the tachymeter function, or the chronograph function rather, to allow that dial to actually progress upward at a very even rate. It doesn't tick forward every time you reach the 12 o'clock position with that chrono hand. So very good usage, very good precision there from Audemars Piguet. And if you want to reset this, simply press the bottom chronograph hand. It resets all those dials except the small seconds hand to 0. So you can start timing again when you are ready. All right, and on the further functions of this watch, you can simply unwind the crown to the first position. You can wind the watch should you have ever run out of power on this. You only really need to wind it about 25 to 30 times until you start feeling that damping sort of really starting to ramp up near the end of the the full wind of that barrel, that mainspring barrel that holds all the power. All right, pull out to the next position, and you can then adjust the date by effectively turning this about a half turn each time. So if you need to advance the date, keep that in mind, because you will have to effectively wind this through this entire huge throw going on with the crown here. All right, and pull it out to the final position, and note that the seconds hand has in fact stopped. That allows you to then set the time with the minute hand precisely and as needed. All right, and also keep in mind that the way that this works is that you can actually advance the hour hand up to midnight, and it will instantaneously change to the next day. There's no gradual change of the date within that date aperture. All right, so very, very precise and very, very good engineering from Audemars Piguet right there. And all of that is made possible thanks to the movement. The movement in this watch is the 3126/3840 manufacturer. Now, what does that mean? You have two different caliber numbers. Well, more on that in a moment, because first of all, its diameter inside is 29.92 millimeters, or 13 1/4 of a line. It has a frequency of 21,600 vibrations per hour, or 3 hertz frequency. That monoblock oscillator is 22 karat gold, which allows for bidirectional winding. So when you have this on your wrist, you'll keep it wound very nice and easy. The power reserve goes all the way up to 50 hours. It has 59 joules total with 365 total parts. That's a lot of parts. All right. Now, why would you have that many parts? Well, that goes with why this caliber is known as a 3126/3840 manufacturer. It's actually two different movements put together. The in-house made movement, the 3120, made by Audemars Piguet themselves, allows for the functions of the center mounted, minute, hour, and technically the seconds hand, but the rest of the functions, oh yeah, and also that date aperture, that really rapid setting of the date. You can set the date should you need to, and you're close to, say, midnight, and I don't know, maybe you're passing through a time zone and you're suddenly on the next day. You can change the date at any time of the day. It doesn't matter when, because there's no locking mechanism to basically stop you from doing so, and you can't damage the watch by simply setting the date. Very, very good, solid piece of engineering from the 3120. Now, the 3126/3840, the 3840 part is from the Dubois de Pras chronograph module that is basically slung on there and decorated by Audemars Piguet. So it's made to look sort of like their own in-house movement, but the chronograph feature was made by a third party. Not a bad thing, actually, because it works very solidly. The chronograph functions, work very, very well. As you can see, there's no stuttering movement, and there's no sort of weird, stuttering stop or, weird movements by that chrono hand. And you already saw how gradual and how precise those dials work on at least at the 9 o'clock position. So, and when it comes to resetting it, really quick, really fast. You probably didn't even see a single frame into this video where it went, a little bit slow. It was instant. All right. So excellent engineering from Dubois de Pras, which allows for that 3840 part of that movement. All right. So enough of the technical talk. How does it work? This overall feel of this watch. Well, first, we'll get onto this bracelet. It's more of a strap, a rubber strap, held together by these intermediate links, as well as a screw on the side of the case right there, if my camera would like to focus. We have a screw-in portion there, so it keeps it very steady. It's not going to go anywhere, right? A rubber strap, a light rubber color with a dark black interior, right? With those striations that sort of allow it to flex a little bit more than a fully solid strap. And it sort of also gives that sense of movement with those intermediate links, as if they're leaving, trails behind to slam into and connect with the case, as you can see at the bottom and at the top of the case watch. All right. The bottom here, taping all the way down, we have the pin buckle. Again, titanium, so it's super light with that satin brush finishing and sort of like that sandblasted AP letterform logo, right? And the great part of having a pin buckle style clasp or buckle is you can essentially adjust this on the fly, depending on your wrist changes throughout the day, or maybe you're going to let your son wear this or your daughter wear this, and maybe they can size it to their wrist just fine, no issue there. All right, let's zoom out and we can try it on and give you some of my thoughts as to how it feels on the wrist. All right, now for me, I have a 7.25 to 7.5 inch diameter wrist, so this fits me perfectly at the very first notch. All right, so you see there's really no extra space there. I'm at the very first notch. It fits me very snug right there. All right, and again, that 55 millimeter effective lug-to-lug distance makes this for a big chunker. It's a chunker of a watch, and for good reason. It's an offshore, so you're going to have that weather sealing gasket that really keeps it very, very strong water resistance down to 100 meters or 330 feet. You're probably not going to go further than that. You don't really need to. Okay, and when you have this rubber strap, you're ready for swimming laps in any sort of pool, even Olympics. Well, you may not need to wear this during the Olympics because, well, actually you probably could, because it is so light. The titanium construction of this case makes it feel like I'm not even wearing it at all, further lending to that sort of sense that this is truly a ghost, not only in presentation but in feel. And with the way that the titanium construction, how light it is, you barely feel it on your wrist, and I don't feel any sort of weird weight distribution where I'm slinging a watch around. I don't know which side the watch is on my wrist. That's how light this is. All right. The pin buckle obviously lending its own, with the rubber strap lending its own counterweight to the watch, but honestly, you don't really need it. It's very, very light, incredibly light, and a very, very good wear for anyone who has a smaller wrist or average sized wrist, such as mine, with that very light construction. And also, if you take a look at how it wears on the wrist, I'm wearing this very snug on me because I don't want it to move around, and it's certainly not going anywhere. But you have these wings that sort of come down from the lugs that allow you to have some sort of breathing space with the way that the strap flares out just a little bit, thanks to those intermediate links that sort of lift it out and give it that extra lug-to-lug height, right? And so that's very good for wearing, in those sports type of situations, in the pool or, jogging around the block, anything like that, right? So when it comes to the overall color scheme, well, it's a ghost. What can you put with it? Well, just about anything. If you know, ghosts in movies, well, what sort of clothes do they wear? They could be wearing anything. And because they have such a neutral color that it doesn't really matter what sort of thing that you want to put with this, because it will fit with any color suit, jacket, dress, bathing suit, whatever you want to put it with, because this is extremely versatile. Just like, any ghost sort of floating through the ether, or perhaps, through a wall. They can go anywhere. This can go anywhere with you. Well, minus the, need for exorcisms and such. All right, so enough of what I think. What do you think about this watch? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you'd like to, leave a like on this video, please do so. It helps us out immensely. And if you'd like to keep up with our newest videos coming out pretty shortly, hit that subscribe button and click that bell notification so you can be notified when they go live. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, current production like this one, discontinued, or even the hard to get ones like, say, the Royal Oaks with a blue dial, those are boutique exclusive. We can still get those for you as well at jazztime.com. Links in the description below.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.